feelings for some reason. Hi, sweet friends. I hope you are well. We are having quite the gloomy and rainy start to autumn, but I'm not even mad about it because it is cozy season after all. I'm just taking it as my sign to stay indoors, stay bundled up inside, and just get to some of my cozy hobbies that I don't usually have time to do. Last week, as you saw, we did go apple picking and we collected so many apples, so I definitely want to do something with them. Maybe we will bake like an apple crumble or something. I also want to keep reading some of my autumnal seasonal reads. I'm just loving all of the vibes it's giving me right now. It's just like really solidifying that the season has officially changed. So I definitely want to keep reading some of these seasonal books. I also want to get to some new hobbies, things I haven't had a chance to get to. So I'm just taking this rain as my sign to stay indoors, start to, wind down from all the summer socializing and start to, get really, really cozy, get those fuzzy socks out, get my sweaters out, and really dive into the spirit of autumn. Thank you so much for joining me these next couple of days. I'm excited to spend some cozy time with you. Last night, I just finished reading Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This is her new series. I am so confused about how I feel about this book. I thought about it all last night after I finished. I thought about it this morning. I gave it a 3-star rating, but I couldn't quite understand my own feelings for some reason because there are so many good parts to this book and then some not so good parts. And what I will say is, I don't like to bash on authors. If a piece of work is not for me, it's not for me, but I don't want to take away from the effort and, the hard work that goes into writing a book. I definitely have an appreciation for the craft and the artistry that goes into being an author. So I don't ever like to truly bash any author's works. But this one truly has me confused. I really don't know how to make up my mind because, listen, this book did a lot of things really well. I found, first and foremost, the magic system to be so interesting, and it's most of the reason I picked up this book. This magic system in the book is all around like tarot cards and how you can not only like ink your own tarot cards, but then wield them in different ways. They all have different powers. There's also a lot around like reading different tarot cards. It's very fascinating. It's magic that I've never read about before. So I will give Elise Kova credit for the fact that she chose something very different, something we haven't seen before, at least I haven't. And so I really like that aspect. And I also like the aspect that it's an enemies to lovers, and she actually wrote them like enemies. The reason behind them being enemies makes a lot of sense, because to me, sometimes when an author claims that it's enemies to lovers, the reason for them being enemies just is so surface level and so silly. But in this one, it actually makes sense, like why they would be enemies. There's like a real valid reason. So I will give her that as well. And I also liked the academic setting. I think it was an interesting take on this world and having like that school environment. So there are some things this book did well. Now, on the other hand, the flushing out of all the actual events and details and the romance was a little bumpy and a little choppy. I think it needed to be worked on a little bit. The pacing was a little wild. You caught some of these like really weird time jumps. You had like a lot of anticipation around some really big events that happened during the academic year, but then the event would come to fruition and it would be so anticlimactic and it would be over within 2 seconds. So you never really got much from those events that were kind of like the main points of the year. The romance is really choppy as well. It's pretty much non-existent for a majority of the book. And listen, I'm somebody that doesn't like insta love. I'm okay if they don't get together for like, you know, if this is the only part of the book that they're together, I'm okay with that. But I need the buildup. I need the yearning. I need the like development of their interactions and running into each other and working through their different, whatever it might be. I need something. But there was so much of this book where the two of them didn't even interact or have any sort of like engagement. And then all of a sudden at the end of the book, you kind of get catapulted into their romance, and it just felt really choppy and the transition was a little funny. And then I just didn't think there was enough detail, even in like the academics of the whole setting, like the school. You got some history on it, but not enough about the different classes that they were taking, the professors, just everything they were learning and expected to know. I feel like a lot of the themes just were not flushed out. It was a little bit of a choppy experience. Like I said, the pacing was kind of off, the romance was kind of off. It has all the great elements of a truly fantastic romantasy, but it just wasn't executed. So I will give Elise Kova credit for playing with a different world, a different kind of magic system, for trying something different than a lot of these usual romantasies that you see. But I just think it needed a little bit of work in execution. Now, what else I have learned about romantasy books is, you know, book one is a little bit of a bumpy ride because you're doing a lot of setup. And so, you know, fair enough to her, maybe I need to read the next books in this series to see how she kind of flushes it out, and maybe it'll be a little bit smoother after that. So I don't want to completely write it off. And the fact that I even finished it, I think is a good sign as well, because usually if it's reading that choppy, I won't want to pick it up, but I found myself wanting to pick it up at the end of the day. There was still something drawing me in. So there was enough substance there to keep me going. And it did end on a little bit of a, you know, cliffhanger. So I know the second book is going to pick up quite, you know, already action packed, and hopefully, like I said, she can kind of flush through some of the details and make it a little bit of a smoother ride. But I went ahead and gave this book 3 stars, and I will say that I'm cautiously optimistic for the next book in the series, and I think I will pick it up when it comes around, but we'll see how long it takes for the second one to come out, because that's the other thing about me. I seem to lose interest a lot too if it like I have to wait like a year or two and it's not an author that I'm completely sold on, then I may or may not pick up that next book. But anyways, that's that one. The other book I've been reading is If It Makes You Happy. This one is by Julie Olivia. I am just giggling and kicking my feet reading this book. Is it the most, you know, life-changing plot you've ever seen? No, of course not. It's, you know, a pretty standard romance novel. She's grumpy, he's sunshine, there's a cute little dog. He has two daughters. It's a cute town. I mean, we've seen this before, but the part that I'm loving the most is all the 90s references. I just love it so, so much. I mean, I just got to a point in the book where they made a reference to a Tamagotchi pet. Do you remember having a Tamagotchi pet? Oh my goodness. I mean, this is bombarded with 90s nostalgia, and to be honest, it kind of fits exactly what I need right now. So I am having a really fantastic time with this book. And then I have a couple others here. I mentioned this one in my last vlog. I do want to get to this one before the season is over as well. I did also recently buy The Hobbit. I cannot wait to read this, especially in autumn. I just feel like it's that cozy vibe for reading like an actual real fantasy novel that like, you know, is so beloved by everybody. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this. My husband read it a long time ago and has been asking me to read it for so long. And I just think a nice cup of tea and some biscuits and some moody lighting and this book are calling out to me very, very soon. And then the last book I have here that I kind of want to put on my TBR is the Bridge Kingdom series. This is another romantasy series. I think there's like 5 or 6 books. I don't know for sure, but I know there's a lot of them, and all of the covers are just so stunning. I think this is like a reprint with a different cover, but they're just so beautiful, and that's what initially drew me into them. I also love when series have like 5 or 6 books deep and I don't have to wait for them to release, because like I said, I kind of lose interest. So I'm already like 6 books behind, I think. So if it's really interesting, I'll be able to just like crank through them one after the other. So I'll see what I get to. And then I have a whole heap of like witchy books that I want to read, of course, for October. It's not quite October yet, so I think I want to save those for October, just some of that like spooky atmospheric stuff. But for now, I am happy just like giggling my feet, reading my little seasonal, autumnal, very Gilmore Girls 90s book. I would definitely recommend picking this one up if all of those words speak to you and you're looking for a little bit of that nostalgia. This closet in my study is one of my favorite parts of the house because it's my own little cozy little nook where I keep all of my little hobbies and extracurriculars and bits and bobs of things that I like to tinker with when I have a little bit of time. It's the perfect place to come on a rainy day when I'm looking for some sort of art activity or some sort of hobby that I don't normally have time for. So if you'll remember a couple of videos ago, we actually organized it because it was a little bit of a disaster since we'd moved into this house. There's definitely a lot more order to it now and it makes a lot more sense. So I kind of want to show you around and maybe we can decide on what hobby or activity to do next. So the way I've organized it is here on the left is where I have all of my like fun hobby stuff, and then here on the right is some of the more like functional office supplies, party planning, costuming kind of stuff. So that's not the fun side. This is the fun side. If we start here in the middle, I have a lot of my middle grade books, the books that don't have space on the shelves out here. But I am going to be doing an update video to my study soon, and I was wondering if I should put more bookshelves here, like my bookshelves I have from my previous study. So maybe there will be a bit of space for some of these books to go out there. But up here is where I have all of my journaling stuff. I've really been getting into journaling, and I recently ordered quite a few new sticker books, and I've had to like put them up here, but I've discovered like so many fun new companies that make beautiful, beautiful stickers for like beautiful spreads that I've been making lately. Maybe we'll get to that in this video. I can show you a few more. And then as you go down, I have some other hobbies. So I have some like scrapbooking stuff down here. Like I said, recently, I've kind of discovered these new sticker companies. So I've gotten some like autumn inspired like stickers, some Halloween ones and different ones I've been saving for like different occasions. So Maybe we could do a little bit of scrapbooking, although I don't really feel in the mood to do that right now. I also have up here some of my coloring. Coloring's been all the craze recently. I originally had like this set of Ohuhu markers, and then Ohuhu was kind enough to send me some more. I think my code still works. This is not sponsored or anything. So if you want to buy some Ohuhu markers or products, I'll link that code below. I think it's still good for 10% off. And then, you guys, I lost my mind and went and bought this like 216 pack of coloring alcohol markers, because I was just like really getting into all of this coloring. There's just so many cute books out now. And then there's this one that I really want to get to. It is this European one. Oh my goodness, how cute is that? Like, I just cannot get over how adorable this is. So we may have to do some coloring a bit later, but the problem is that I have not done the swatches for all 216 of these just yet. So I might need to swatch the colors first before I get to coloring. Then I have like Woobles kits up here. I've got gifted a few of them from some friends and things. So I have like the Harry Potter ones and like a little unicorn and a little panda. So maybe we could do that. Have some acrylic paint markers up here. Sticker books are so much fun as well. I have shown this on my channel before, where it's like paint by numbers, but instead of paint, it's like stickers. So maybe we'll do one of those. And then up here, I want to collect the different puzzles that I have. And I actually need to go get the other ones from around the house. But recently I got this like odd pieces puzzle. This is like a company that came out recently, a small business. And the cool thing about this puzzle is apparently there's like a mystery in it. So the puzzle you see on the front is not the actual puzzle that you end up making. And there's like different mysteries to solve. So I don't want to give anything away, but my husband and I thought this would be like a fun activity for us to do like in the evenings. Right now, we're not able to get out too far because our kids are so small. And we kind of need to stay close to home. So we've been trying to come up with like different ways to have like date night at home. So I think what I might actually do is maybe I'll go set this up. I did order one of those like puzzle boards where you could lay it all out and have the little compartments for different colored pieces. So maybe if I lay it all out, then next weekend we can actually get started on it. I guess it's like one of those, if you build it, they will come kind of things. So let me actually go unwrap that puzzle board and start to lay some of these pieces out. I think that could be a fun activity for us to do right now. Oh, it did come with some little knobs I think you can put on there to pull it out, but this is where you would put all the little pieces. Love that. And there's two on this side, and I believe there's two on that side as well, so you can have all four sides. And the Lazy Susan is supposed to help like move it around if you're working on it with different people, or if you're working on a different part of the puzzle. So excited about that, but the baby did just wake up, so we might have to put a pause on this and pick it back up a little bit later. while later. Everybody is tucked into bed and all cozy. I did manage to put the Lazy Susan on this puzzle board and then get the little knobs onto the drawers. It's actually quite sturdy and pretty decent. I'll link it down below if you're interested in getting it for yourself. I think what I'm gonna do is just unpack this because now I'm so excited to see what the whole mystery element is. I don't think I'll get started on it because I do want to save it to do with my husband for our next home date night, but I kind of want to see what all the intrigue and mystery is about. It comes in a number of different options. I think they have like 4 or 5, and we got the one that was Beyond the Kelp. I just loved the colors of it. I thought it was so beautiful. So this is the one that we picked. Let me open it up. On the front, it says it has Mysteries, Comics, Surprises. So it says Beyond the Kelp. Hello, open me. Your adventure starts now. So inside, how it works. Read the comic so you get to know the story. Build the puzzle. It says you build it like any other jigsaw puzzle, only the puzzle you build is not exactly the same as the image on the box. The more pieces you put together, the more you'll find out what happens in the story. And then you uncover the mystery, and then it says step 4, open the secret envelope. So interesting. So this is the story. This is the checkbox of different items to find different characters. And then I guess these are just some stickers. So these are the instructions. I think this must just be what exactly we are putting together. Isn't that just so stunning? I love the colors on this. The artist did such a great job. Because I think it's like hand drawn by someone they know. It's the same map. I guess if you have multiple people working on this puzzle. Then we have all the puzzle pieces. And then sure enough, at the bottom it says, warning, don't open until after you complete the puzzle. If you open it too soon, you might ruin the surprise. Beyond the Kelp. Yeah, I think this is the artist. So fun. I cannot wait to get started on this. I'm not usually a fan of it getting darker much sooner, but lately it's been making my kids super sleepy super early, so we've been able to get a little bit more time in the evenings. So I thought tonight I would start my read and annotation of Fearful. This is Lauren Roberts' new novella that goes with her Powerless series. I have been so excited to read it, but I've also been holding off a little bit because I'm kind of sad to say goodbye once and for all to these characters and this world. She said that this is going to be the last book or novella in this world, and so I've just been a little hesitant, but I think it's time. This is such a great series to start with if you're interested in getting into romantasy. I would call it like romantasy light because it's not super heavy on the world building. The magic is not hard to understand. You don't get a lot of like info dumping either, and it's a little bit heavier on the romance, which I enjoy. So it's a great series if you're looking to kind of make your way into the genre of romantasy, and the characters are so likable and so fun, and you're kind of like rooting for each of them. It's a really, really fun story, and I would highly recommend it. Now, if you're wondering, aren't I in the middle of some other books that I was talking about earlier? Yes, friend, I am. But I don't know why in my head I can't seem to read just one book at a time. I always have like 3 or 4 books going at the same time. I truly do not understand what it is, but I've stopped fighting it. This is just who I am, and somehow it works in my chaotic brain. So I'm going to be starting my read of Fearful tonight, and I'm also going to be annotating it as I go. Now, I would have done it as part of my live annotation series, but I didn't want to spoil anything for anybody in case you haven't read it yet. I really want you to enjoy it for yourself, so I didn't want to spoil it for anybody else. But I did annotate Powerful, which is the other novella in this series. If you want to check that video out, I'll link it down below, but I definitely did not want to annotate this one on camera because I have a feeling there's probably going to be a few spoilers in this, and like I said, I didn't want to ruin it for anyone else because if you have not read it, it is definitely worth the time. So I'm going to spend some time this evening just reading and annotating. I hope you will join me with your own cozy book.